He is Titans legend Keith Bulluck, who stops by to talk some Titans and NFL with us this morning. What's up, Keith? How are you?
Doing all right, man. How's everything with y'all? RK Dub.
What's up, bully?
We've been called Tennessee homers before 8 a.m., so things are right on schedule, Keith.
I mean, 2 out of 3 are, but hey, I'm not, calling nobody out.
You also say you're a VAA.
I was gonna say, is he adopted?
I mean, it is what
Both
it is.
are right.
Adopted
Both are
ball
right.
fan.
And I'm always gonna hear the other side of the argument before I side with the ball.
And Bully, to be real, that's
Y'all are
fair.
hot right now. I can't even front. Y'all are hot right now.
Hey, man, you do what you
Football,
want.
baseball, basketball, trifecta. I'm not in women's sports, so that's what's up.
You do what you want when you
Balls are
popping,
all
Bully.
right.
You do what you want when you popping. You know how it goes, man.
Exactly.
Keith Bulluck with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla Will. Keith, your first impression of Brian Callahan. What did you like about the hire and what he has had to say and talking with the media, talking to us, and making his tour on Thursday and Friday last week?
I feel like he's saying all the right things. Actually, I'm just happy for him, I guess, more so as a person, because I can hear in the interviews that I have heard, how elated he is, how happy he is to be here. You know what I'm saying? And he's been in football and around football for a long time. I actually played against one of his dad's Oakland Raiders teams, an AFC championship game. So I'm sure he was there. So, I think his experience that he has probably goes a little overlooked, but I don't know much about him. I think him not calling plays isn't a big deal. I think, being able to sit back and kind of get a feel of how to go about it. Oh, I wouldn't have done that, or I would have done this, or, and then to actually have to get out there and do it. I think that's going to be cool and interesting, because most guys that have, McVay and Andy Reid, those are 2 coaches that have kind of done all right, that didn't call plays before they were a head coach. So I think those are all the different takes, and I just like the way that, his quarterbacks have played under him, like especially that kid Browning from Cincinnati this year. He was killing it. So, if that's any indication of how he communicates and is able to teach and get through to his quarterbacks, that's a good thing. Although he will be the head coach, not the quarterback coach, but it's still all positive.
Bully, why do you think it's always if something is one way, meaning having a defensive head coach, you go the opposite way? Do you think there's any context behind that, and not necessarily that they made this because they wanted to go offense? Why do you think it's perceived to go the opposite direction?
I just think because it seems as if they've been going defense the last few head coaches. And I think maybe it's just playing to, a smart move by the organization, playing to what they've kind of been hearing the fan base wanting. You know what I mean? Obviously, you got the stadium coming. You haven't been playing well. There's a lot of things that are, not shining positive from the fan base towards the Titans. So I think as you go in a different direction, do something that the fan base kind of can get behind. Will Levis is obviously a bright young talent, and you get somebody that can cultivate that talent. I don't know that a defensive coach necessarily couldn't, because Jeff Fisher was deemed a defensive coach, and we had Mike Heimendinger, and we also had Norm Chow, they both did a good job as, offensive-minded coaches that really didn't necessarily want to be head coaches in the NFL, whereas these days, most guys do want to be head coaches.
Bully, if you've ever gone through a head coaching change, man, for the guys inside the building, what is that transition like? I didn't ever have to deal with that. I changed position coach numerous times. But does the entire building change either through your experience or through talking to other guys?
Talking through other guys, my only experience is just me going to another team. So that's a individual experience, but talking to other guys where they've had a whole coaching change, they don't know what to expect. I think the veterans, great example, man. When Tom Coughlin went to the New York Giants, you had guys like Michael Strahan who had already been there. They know the Giant way, and you hear things about Coach Coughlin, how he's, a stickler, 5 minutes early to a 7:30 meeting. If you're there at 7:30, you're late. Like all these different things that you might not be with, you have to adjust. But I know that Stray, he as a pro went and spoke with Coach Coughlin, you know what I'm saying? And, they had a conversation to where, Stray could go down and kind of bring the word from the new head coach to the guys in the locker room and be like, yo, this is, so it kind of depends on, I guess, your locker room leadership as well as the type of head coach that you bring into the building.
Keith Bulluck joining us now on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Bully, what's the biggest challenge for Brian Callahan coming in year one? And what do you feel like the expectations will be?
His biggest challenge is to get his team to believe in him and have his back. You got to be a leader of men. You can't just get a head coaching job and then you jump out there like Urban Meyer and just get on some BS. And I use Urban Meyer because it seems as if his team wasn't behind him when he went to Jacksonville right away. And we've had other examples and seen that. I just think that's the most recent type of situation. You got to be able to, convince your team that you are the guy for the job. It's one thing to, be a position coach or a coordinator, but when you have to stand in front of grown men that go home to families and stuff like that, of course there's some young men in there, but everyone deems and looks to have a respect for their coach. So I think that's first and foremost.
Then how important is it as well to make sure you're really getting a variety in terms of your coaching staff? Like, it's one thing to go on your tree and get the guys and maybe you've had, connections with along the way, your buddies per se, but also get in some guys that have experience or gals that have experience and might not be directly related to you. Is there a happy medium in terms of putting together your staff?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that's a great question. I know that's what I feel that's what Brian Callahan's going to have to do in order to have success. Like, now I'm in the business world and I got a project going on and it's like, yo, I don't know how to do this, but I know how to put the team together to get this job done. It's knowing what you do best. You understand what I'm saying? So you know what you do best. You get someone else that does something well, and then you take suggestions from there and you build the team. Whoever his assistant head coach is in whatever position they're going to coach, they have to be on the same page with that, because you're going to have to get some unfamiliar people. You see what happens, or we've seen and heard examples of what happens when you just hire your friends and stuff like that. That might work for about a year or two, but at some point you're going to have one of those guys aren't going to be up to snuff and you're going to have to get someone better. So I think that in order for the Titans and Brian Callahan to have success, I think that's exactly what he's going to have to do, Kayla. Just kind of get a team of super friends together, you know what I'm saying? Pull everyone's coaches' talents together. I feel this is a great opportunity for a bunch of coaches that maybe first-time coaches or coaches that have already been head coaches or had coaching experience to get in on what he's putting together and make a great team organization.
Former Titan Keith Bulluck, our guest on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Keith, the Titans have the second most cap space of any NFL team moving forward into free agency this offseason. What is at the top of your free agency wish list for the Titans?
I say, well, look, man, if they could lock T. Higgins in, I'd just go ahead and lock that in, because in T. Higgins, and you need an anchor on the O-line, I feel. I feel like Peters, you just got Radins, I believe. Isn't that the guy they just brought in last year from free agency?
No, Brunskill was. Brunskill and
go.
Dillard were the two from free agency last year.
Dillard. All right. Well, what I do know is you need to bring in somebody that's a dog, at the offensive line. I don't care if he's in year 10, year 11. I don't care if he's only going to give you 12 games a year, and it's the first 12 games of that year, because what that person that comes onto that online with experience that has mauled a bunch of guys in the NFL, he's going to bring attitude and teach these guys how to be professionals, how to approach their job, how to get after defenses, how to work as a unit, as a chain. And be able to protect Will Levis so he can get it downfield to T. Higgins. So I think, or whatever standout wide receiver, you need a playmaker to complement DeAndre Hopkins, because Traylon Burks ain't it for me. Yeah. Y'all say what y'all want, what you got to say, but, it would have already showed. I don't see no hunger. I don't see much, no passion towards it. Everybody's hurt in football. Sometimes you got to get healthy, and when you're healthy, pretty much, excuse my language, you got to show your ass as a first-round draft pick. And, we haven't seen that from him yet. So I know they need another playmaker to complement Tyjae Spears. The jury is yet. I don't want to call Will Levis a dog yet, but he has it in him. Like, he has it. He's like, ruff, ruff, ruff. He has it in him, though. He definitely has it in him. I had the opportunity to meet the young man and just have a very regular, candid, just talk. Oh, Will Levis, what's up? Keep and just chopping it up and just, hearing him talk as a person and the questions he asked me. And, he definitely wants to be the guy everybody wants him to be. And it's not one of those things that, he doesn't talk it, but you can just kind of sense it. Ramon, you guys have been around people like that. So
right.
I hope, it works out for him that way.
Keith, is there any chance Derrick Henry is on this roster this next fall? And we have kind of find it hard to believe that Derrick would come back on a shorter deal and be a backup to Tyjae Spears. Just personality-wise in that locker room doesn't appear to be a great fit, because you said it, they need weapons to surround Tyjae Spears at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I'm in Derrick Henry's shoes, I'm going back. I'm going to the best situation I can go, and it's not. I know I'm not gonna go, and I wouldn't be looking to go anywhere as a starter. I want to go somewhere where I can complement, a backfield, and I don't think I would stay here in Tennessee to do that, because that's a demotion. You know what I'm saying? Like, you put in too much work to really, take a demotion here. You go somewhere else and you start a fresh chapter. And look, that last game of the season, Derrick did work. He finished the season healthy. He's been pretty much healthy his whole career. He's about to start those Spartan workouts that he does. So he's going to come into camp in great shape. I like Derrick Henry for another 2 years anywhere, and he could definitely help a team. He definitely would have helped the Baltimore Ravens this weekend if he was on their team, because I don't know what they're doing.
Bully, man, I was going to ask you about the games this weekend, but you bring up something, man. We had a discussion at the top of the 8 o'clock and at the end of the 7 about development, man. You mentioned Burks, right, and how you view him. How important, Bully, in the business of football? The game takes care of itself, right? We see the results on game day. But the business of football, to make incremental steps and to grow and to be the guy, as you said, whether we see spark in year 1 or you take a big year 2 jump, how much does that matter in the world of football, the business side?
Man, it matters tremendously. It matters tremendously from year to year and game to game. Like, year to year, and it's like there's a certain expectation they expect you to meet as a rookie or as a free agent or however. And then if you meet that expectation, cool, that's fine. But they expect you to go over those expectations. And when you come under them, it's like kind of, they look at you, they give you another shot, they put you in certain positions to even succeed. And when you can't show that success consistently, they're definitely going to move on, to the next person. And I say game to game. I remember during my playing days, a friend of mine played for the Texans, a guard, Casey Studdard, and he had to go in, substitute for somebody. And I killed him because he wasn't prepared. He had to come in. But then we played in the next game, and he was a lot better that next game because he was able to prepare. So it's like a game-to-game thing, because if you're a backup, yeah, you can go in and, not play well against a tough competitor the first time, But best believe when you have a whole week to prepare and a game plan and the coach spends time with you and tells you specifically what to do, you need to be able to go out there and do it. Do it. You know what I'm saying? Even if it is a tough matchup. And, you know, that goes undervalued and overlooked a lot in the NFL and a lot by players. I feel players get in the comfort zone because, they have to play because they're next man up. And the third string isn't better than them. And, you know, it might be someone might be on their last not coming back and they just get complacent. And they haven't gotten better all year, but you're the only guy they got, you know? So you see it a lot.
Are you surprised by the Super Bowl matchup that we have coming up here in 2 weeks, or did you think like these were the two teams that would be in the end?
I definitely thought, like a lot of people, that Baltimore would win. What I am surprised is the fashion that San Francisco won in. You know, I call Christian McCaffrey Weapon X because he's a matchup problem for just about any position on the field. But Brock Purdy showed up, man. He showed up in ways Lamar Jackson should have showed up yesterday by using his legs to move the chains, being active in the pocket, and, you know, making plays downfield. So definitely happy for Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. You know, obviously the Detroit Lions played a great game. They just, you know, Dan Campbell, man. Sometimes you got to take the points, bro. You know what I'm saying? Hey, but no, he like fell on the sword. He's like, man, I've been going out like this all year. I'm not going to stop now, but come on, man.
He makes a great cup of coffee, and he brings in the best analysis. Keith
He
Bulluck.
does.
And Patrick Mahomes he showed you why, like, we haven't seen anyone like him in this game, and it's pretty cool to watch because I got to play against and come up with Tom Brady, watch Joe Montana, whoever you could name in the last 40-plus years, and to be able to watch this kid, like what did your man used to say, cool as the other side of the pillow.
That's right.
Stuart Scott.
Yeah, that's it right there, man. Like, he all year, he shows his frustrations when it's time to get frustrated. But when it's time to get on that field, man, he does his thing, man. He's dope to watch.
He is.
Keith Bulluck, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla Will at KBull53 on Twitter. We appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Bully.
Thanks for having me. Y'all have a good one.
You
Yes,
too,
sir.
Bully.
There he is, Keith Bulluck with us this morning. Interesting things on Traylon Burks.
Yep.
I can't say I disagree with him.
No, Nate Washington.